right, so for the meal I'm going to be making tonight, it's going to be traditional style stir fry, and I'm cooking in peanut oil, which contains just primarily fats, but it is all natural peanut oil. And I do have some seasonings I will be using in the background, but not as much. Maybe a little bit of garlic powder, but what's the point when I'm going to be using roasted garlic? And these white mushrooms are going to be sauteed in the peanut oil and the garlic, which is going to activate some of the lipids and the phosphor allium stuff in garlic. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember it right now, but it's good stuff. And sauteing my protein, which is white mushrooms. They got about 4 grams of protein in about a quarter cup. And then I have some tamari sauce. It's my primary sodium source for this meal, so I'm going to be using very, very little of it. And it's gluten-free tamari sauce, very delicious. And then I have this rice vinegar, which is also very traditional. 1 tablespoon is 25 calories, no fat. It's got some sodium in it, but it tends to get soaked up by the veggies, which makes them super delicious, and you don't need to use a whole lot of this. There's not a whole lot of significant sources of other nutrients in it, so it's not necessary. It just makes it nice and flavorful. This Mongolian fire oil is also very delicious. It's got some calories in it because it is oil, but once again, no nutritional value. It's just nice to have if you want to add flavoring or spice. And then we have our onions, which are going to be sauteed along with the mushrooms until they're nice and good. They contain, once again, phosphorus and acids that are very good for breaking down fats and breaking down carbohydrates, as well as enhancing the flavors and bringing a lot of umami flavor out. And onions, green onions especially, are great to put with basmati rice, which can be probably one of the better rices you can choose. As you can see, it's got 35 grams of carbs, which is on average lower than others. And then we have no nutrients to really see, but the macronutrients of protein, 4 grams, that's pretty decent. So it's your complex carb that's going to go with your lipid, which is the peanut oil, and then your protein, the mushrooms. And additional vegetables for fiber, dietary fiber source, as well as some protein is the broccoli, some tasty additional dietary fiber from the baby corn and water chestnuts, some ginger for its effectiveness on helping alleviating nausea and stomach aches that can sometimes happen with spicy foods or high fat foods. Really great for seasoning. And then we have some of the veggies that are going to go in towards the end to keep them nice and fresh and crisp when they cook. You don't want to overcook them, otherwise you lose nutrients. We got vitamin A as well as some dietary fiber, mostly carbs, not a whole lot of protein or fat though. And then our sugar snap peas going to be dense with fiber as well as some iron, potassium, and other vitamins. All right, let's get to cooking. Rice is cooking. Pan is hot. Let's go. All right, so in the finished product, yeah, the basmati rice turned into somewhat of a more rice porridge. I put in too much water. Lesson learned, pre-soak it 15 minutes in cold water and then bring it to a boil, but make sure you add the correct amount of water. Otherwise, I think it's still decently used. I'm going to do better on the rice next time. But I am absolutely in love with what I did with the veggies. Instead of using salt, I felt it was necessary to just do sriracha sauce instead. I got the onions in both yellow and green in there with the sriracha sauce, and then the mushrooms came out nice and tender. Yeah, delicious looking. And it is tasty, very spicy, so you don't need to add a whole lot of salt if you just want to add some chili sauce. So as you can see, we got this cooked separately from the mushrooms from the protein source. Obviously 2 big pans. This should be enough food for me to be able to do about 5 meals in these containers right here. And that should be able to tide me over for lunches, keep me going when I'm at work. I really do enjoy cooking Asian cuisine. I enjoy the fact that these are very filling and very tasty to eat. I have a lot of people, my friends, who really enjoy what I cook, and yeah, they're looking forward to eating this for sure. I cooked for a mother and her son. and they have taste tested it, and it wins over pizza for sure. Hopefully you guys will be able to enjoy playing around with the proteins in the main dish. I would say just a chili sauce and your protein source, and garlic and or onion would be a good choice. As mentioned before, mushrooms are a good protein source, has fiber, has the micronutrients of vitamin A, iron, potassium. Onions also contain some phosphorus and other acids that go really well with mushrooms. Mushrooms absorb a lot of flavors. You would definitely probably choose more of tofu as another alternative source in this sauce. I do feel like tofu might crumble apart, that's why I didn't choose it. But for meat eaters, definitely a good sauce for maybe steak or even some shrimp. And once more, just going over the fact that when you cook veggies, you don't want to overcook them, so you want to add different ones you don't want to overcook at the last part of when you're finishing up the meal. So what I first added was the baby corns and the water chestnuts, and then I added in the carrots and the sugar snap peas last, so that they tend to stay a little bit more firm and crunchy while absorbing some of the flavor. And the broccoli was also added in between so that it became tender and absorbed most of the flavor and still retained most of its original color. It's a poor yellow light, but it's got its rich green color still. There's no overcooking. The only sauces I used, once again, were Mongolian fire oil, the rice vinegar, and then the tamari sauce. I did not add anything else other than these sauces, so no additional salt, no garlic powder, and that just pretty much covers a lot of my sodium anyway. Let's see, 41% sodium in there. And then you got your tons of fats. So this is a really good meal that you can put together for lunch or when you need something after, say, a workout. It'll keep you going. It's pretty tasty. Alright, hopefully you'll find some enjoyment in any of these dishes, especially the basmati rice. Definitely lower glycemic than jasmine. Goes right on top of this food. Oh yeah.